today's episode of Galaxy Tenants, we head to Nashville, Tennessee for a conversation with Jennifer Hartswick of the Trey Anastasio Band, and we feature these songs in the following order. Gaffiano No. 3 by Marco Benevento, a cover of Radiohead's Creep by Jennifer Hartswick and Nick Cassarino, and Humans, also by Marco Benevento. Enjoy episode 20 and wash your fucking hands.
Just like a minute or two. Cool. I got a little bit more coffee coming. Perfect. Super stoned right now. This is wonderful. I'm
okay, good. Well,
I'm primed.
I have straight espresso, and we just got a dog who's probably going to interrupt 100 times. So just so you're aware of my sitch.
Perfect. What kind of coffee do you drink?
I have an espresso machine, and I just put pods in it and crank them out. I wish I had a headier answer for you.
Pods, huh?
Yeah. Kind of just gets the job done.
Are they Starbucks pods?
No.
Okay, good. Everybody, this is Jen Hartswick. This is one of my favorite people, one of my favorite musicians. She's going to be joining us today and answering a string of questions that I'm going to throw at her. What is your favorite aspect of the music scene?
My favorite aspect of the music scene?
Or industry.
Or industry. I like how giggly you are right now.
I'm super stoned. I can say that. It's a very free form.
It's a liberal podcast.
Extremely liberal. Don't get me started on socialism.
Okay, great. I will not. I'm putting that in my notes. Hold on. You can't see me. No one can see me but you, but I'm scribbling in a notebook. Okay. My favorite, what was the question?
For me, I am the least stressed I've possibly been in the last 10 years right now. The income situation's not great, obviously, but I feel like right now I am so relaxed, and there's so much pressure that's been taken off of me from having to book shows and when's your next show? What are you doing next? And when I think back on the music industry, I reflect very fondly on a lot of things. Mm-hmm. And obviously not so much on others. And I'm curious, what do you find to be fruitful or rewarding within the industry?
My favorite part of getting to do what I do, quite honestly, is the people aspect, is seeing people, seeing friends, seeing musicians, having a connection with audience members that you may or may not know, making new friends, like that whole, the people aspect of the music industry is kind of my favorite part. Obviously getting to, play music with some of my favorite people, again, it's people related, but getting to play music with some of my favorite people is a very close second. But, it's certainly not the travel and the booking and the money and all the crap that comes with it. It's the actual social interaction and being able to make somebody else's day a little better by being me. That's a pretty cool job to have.
I've been directly impacted by this thing you speak of.
Oh.
Yeah. I've been seeing you since I was a young man, forming my direction, forging my path forward. And I remember standing in front of the stage several times, just staring up at, Trey Band and watching you play and just being so impressed. Also, I remember maybe 6-7 years ago, feeling like Music Marauders, which for those who don't know is my publication, feeling like we really made it when we got an interview with you. It's like, wow, we're here, And I feel like that every time I talk to you. I feel it's uplifting. And yeah. So going back to, let me ask you this. What percentage of what you do is people related and that you enjoy? And what percentage of what you do is having to deal with booking and money and the other side of the fun things?
It has shifted. I would say when I was younger, and doing everything myself, it was very little of what I love and very lot of all the other stuff. In my experience and getting older and all of that kind of stuff and delegating and realizing that I don't have to do everything, which is that's a struggle for me because I want to do everything. And then just realizing that I can't, and it's better if I don't. And people are great at certain things that I'm not great at. And so I can be better at what I do. So I would say now where it stands, I would say it's like 40% the stuff that I love to do, which is up from 15% if you go back 8 years or so.
Sure. I think it's easy for people to see musicians and just think, wow, they just show up and they play their gig and what a wonderful, wonderful life. But they don't think about the traveling and the booking and all that other stuff that fits into this. Can you talk about some experiences you've had on stage where you have felt like, wow, I can't believe I'm standing here?
Yeah, there's a few of those that immediately come to mind. I think the one that sticks out the most is the first time I played Red Rocks, which would have been around 2001. I was 21 years old. And you have to understand that my musical upbringing was very much classically oriented, and I didn't go see shows. I didn't, it was not something that I aspired to do or be. And so I didn't even know about the existence of Red Rocks. And a couple months before we played, a friend of mine was explaining to me what it was, and that it's so cool. And the backstage is all built into the rock, and it's this the whole thing. And I thought, wow. And I remember telling Trey about it. I was a kid, and I was like, can you believe that there's this? And he just looked at me with the sweetest look. He was like, yeah, no, it's a really amazing place. And so that's where I was coming from. I was super young, super naive with all of these venues. But I think setting foot on that stage just from a place of child wonderment was a really special thing. It wasn't because, oh my God, I've seen so many shows here, I've heard so many shows from here. It was like, wow, this is such a special place and such a unique energy, and who thought of this? And they're brilliant. And it was honestly, it wasn't until years and years and years and years later that I understood what people go through to get up there. And I had no idea that, people hike, and it's like a whole thing, and it's really high up. And, we just roll the tour bus in there, and I think it's amazing. But really what's amazing is that everybody shows up still.
It's insane.
100 times people still come. But I would say that's probably the number one earliest memory I have of holy shit. What an incredible place. Getting to play Madison Square Garden for the first time was pretty cool. There's a lot of stuff, and there's stuff that's not huge like that. That's just, musical moments that you think it may only be special to me and or me and my band or whatever. But I think those kind of stick out as really special. Also, Alpine Valley is so incredible, kind of in a Red Rocks kind of way, where it just feels different than everything else. And so those were all pretty cool moments in my career.
Mm-hmm. What makes a special show for you?
Communication. You have all these different energies, all these different people with different stuff going on in their day. And then you're sort of expected to forget everything that ever happened to you and just care about what's happening on stage in that moment. And it's much harder than, it sounds hard, but it's even harder than it sounds. And so when you have everybody sort of listening together, that's really the key, is that everybody's just sort of ready and willing to serve, and that no one is in the spotlight. It's all about sort of pistons moving together and moving as a unit. And I think when that happens, really special stuff happens.
Yeah, I agree. I've seen you play in several different formats, and one of my favorite formats that you play in is the Superjam format, which is, for those who don't know, an assembled group of musicians from different backgrounds. How important is communication in that setting? And if you were to pick your favorite group of folks to have a Superjam, what would that look like? Who would that be?
Yeah, the communication in that sense is paramount, because sometimes with a Superjam, you've never met these people. You can pick some like amazing bass player that you've never had the opportunity to play with, but you don't know each other. And so you have to get to know each other in a musical sense, and that can only be done if you're listening. If you're trying to be all me, it's gross, doesn't work. My perfect super jam? I don't know, man. You created it. You created a pretty good one at the old one up one night.
Which one are you referring to? And I think if it's the same one, I think you were the one that created that, and I just was.
No, I know, but
there.
you said yes.
Okay.
No problem. Yep. No problem. Yep. No problem. No, I think. Let's see. Oh my God.
I just want to say when it gets to the point of your experience and your approach and your ego or lack thereof in a musical setting, it's easy to say yes. I can't imagine you bringing something to the table that I would look at and say no, just because I trust you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And I've always looked at myself as a musical matchmaker. I'm not good at it with people and romance, but I am good at it. I can play with somebody and say, oh, he needs to play with this person. That girl needs to play with this guy. And so far I haven't been wrong. I just I see people for who they are and how they, interact. And I'm really happy that that's a skill that I have. Because, not everybody's going to get along with everybody, and not everybody's going to play with everybody and play nice with everybody.
I've had those moments where I've created a super jam, and it's only happened a couple times where I was wrong about someone's personality. Yeah. And man, does it stick out like a sore thumb from the moment rehearsal starts through the show until after. It's a wild thing to watch.
Yeah, and I think, when people who are not musicians create their sort of dream band, you're gonna get into that, whereas the musicians we're out here, we know, and it's the same thing with a record label putting a band together. Man, you don't know, you're not playing this music, you just know that he sells tickets, she sells tickets, and you're like, what could go wrong? Everything
turns out a lot. Yeah,
it's gotta be the same vibe. It doesn't even have to be that everybody's super nice and open and whatever. That's not it. It's just that everybody has to gel, everybody has to vibe. And if your vibe is sort of taking yourself seriously and whatever, cool, make a band full of those kind of people, but don't bring that shit into my playground. I
wanted to put a sign together that said something along the lines of check your ego at the door.
Yeah.
Just kind of put it above the backstage entrance when we're doing super jams.
yeah, and all that kind of stuff stems from insecurity. If you have incredibly secure musicians and people, that behavior doesn't really present itself. If you show up with, a lot of insecurity and whatever, it manifests itself in all kinds of ways. But if you have confident musicians who are good people, the result is most likely going to be really great.
I agree.
Fun. If it's not really great, it's still going to be fun to watch and fun to dance and fun to be a part of,
Yeah, absolutely. So name some names for me. Who would you surround yourself with? Just any players. I mean, you can name folks that are not even accessible, just who would you surround yourself with?
What are you saying they're not accessible? I mean, dead?
Well, beyond that, there's guys in bands that don't do super jams or don't play outside of their band at all. They do their dates and they make a shitload of money, and then that's it.
Yeah. Oh my God. I don't know. I would probably start. Let's see. Who's the drummer? Who's the most killing drummer that I haven't? I would try to make it with people that I haven't played with.
Mm-hmm.
Who's your drummer? Who's your favorite drummer that you haven't worked with?
Oh, wow. I can tell you who one of my favorite drummers that I have worked with is Joe Russo.
Yeah.
Just what he does, all the layers. I've seen him in a bunch of different formats, and man, that guy can disconnect his mind from what he's doing and output some really, really cool stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I've known Marco for a zillion years, since we were kids. I don't even remember where I met him, but probably it had to be like, early 2000s, maybe 2003 or something. And I remember seeing him and hiring him for a Jennifer Hartswick band gig when we barely knew each other. I just knew that I loved him, I loved his playing. And every time he would play something, it would just make me so happy. And I talked to him about it afterwards. I was like, you just play all the right stuff. And he goes, I mean, all I'm doing is playing horn parts. Oh, is that why I like it so much? Because I just relate so much.
I never thought of it that way. That's really interesting.
I didn't either, but
his approach to music is really weird. It's not necessarily fluid and it's not choppy, but it's emotional. It's childish but refined. I really like what he does.
Yeah, he's incredible. I miss him, man. I haven't seen him in so long. Like, we haven't played together in years, but we checked in on each other, a couple times a year just to say hey. But I miss playing with that guy.
So pause on thinking of who you would have in your super jam, and we'll come back to it. Have you been keeping in touch with folks, musicians and whatnot throughout this the last few months?
Yeah. I think the mind of a musician is an interesting thing. Where I would say, if I can make a general statement, we're all pretty emotional people, and we all really love that human aspect of what we do. So I think more so than anybody, we've all been checking in with each other just to make sure that we're cool. And I was talking to Spot C right the other day, more than the other day, like maybe a month ago. And we were talking about, the people who are alone, and it was total lockdown and nothing was open. And I was like, I don't know, man, I really love being by myself. It's something that I don't get to do. And he just fully called me out. He was like, come on, dude. He's like, you think that if you were alone and your husband wasn't there and you couldn't go anywhere and you weren't allowed to see people, that like 40 days into this thing, you would still be sane and cool? And I was like, duh. He goes, when's the last time that you were alone for a week? I was like, right. Okay. You're totally right.
Being alone by choice is wonderful.
Yeah, by choice, when you get to just like come back to reality anytime you want. But he was totally right. And so anyway, but I think we've all been checking in on each other and respecting each other's wishes in space. And I want to thank you for that. You asked me, a while ago to do this, and I was like, I'm like really enjoying the space that I'm in, and I'm just not there yet. I'm not doing lives. I'm not doing anything. I'm just really taking the time to do something that I've never done for myself, which is to sit my ass down and do whatever I want. And none of us would ever have this opportunity if we weren't forced to have this opportunity. So I don't know. I mean, I'm a big silver linings kind of girl, but there's a zillion silver linings to this situation. And not to make light of the reason that we all are home, but sometimes whatever, we just live in a world where you're not allowed to take a break. Like it's not cool. You have to be hustling every single moment of every single day, or else you're made to feel like you're a loser. And especially in our world where we are responsible, we don't go to a job and go home and unplug. We are consistently at our jobs, and a lot of us have been doing this for 20, 30, 40 years, and we don't have that luxury. We have the luxury of doing what we want for a living. It's a different luxury. But we don't have the luxury of just taking 3 months off and like unplugging and resetting, and that's what's been so lovely. It's like you said about this time. Like I'm now at a point, like in the last couple days, I will say, like the last couple days I've been like, okay, cool. Like I got to get out of here. but it's because I've been home since March 10th. It's a long time.
It is a long time. I feel guilty saying it too, but it's been an awesome, just a wonderful 3 months for me. I decided I was either going to take up a Xanax habit or play sitar. So I bought a sitar.
Oh, no way.
Super cool. Yeah. So I'm playing a lot of music. And, I think about the other side of that, though, where I'm sure a lot of people are dealing with some dark stuff right now. And I have a little bit of guilt associated with outputting that. I'm really enjoying this time, and I hope it doesn't end.
Yeah. Well, I will say the way that I feel about that, that's a very, very normal and human thing to way to think. But I feel like gratitude sort of combats that guilt, that I'm so grateful for what I have and where I am and all of this time. And I feel like that sort of offsets my guilt a little bit, because feeling guilty doesn't do any good. It just makes you feel like shit. But I do feel like being extremely grateful has helped me sort of feel less guilty about it, because it's not like you're trying to take it away from somebody else. It's like, just, you're grateful for this time, and for our health and for, all of it.
Sure.
But,
sure. We definitely didn't choose this.
Yeah.
When you were here before, couldn't look you in the eye. You're just like an angel. Your skin makes me cry. You float like a feather in a beautiful world. I wish I was special. You're so very special, but I'm a creep. I'm a weirdo. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here. I don't care if it hurts. I wanna have control. I want a perfect body. I want a perfect soul. I want you to notice when I'm not around. I wish I was special. You're so very special, but I'm a creep. I'm a weirdo. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here. makes you happy, whatever you want. I wish I was special. You're so very special. But I'm a creep. I'm a widow. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here. I don't belong here.
What project do you find to be the most fruitful for you? I know it's kind of a weird question. It puts you on the spot, maybe, but
not at all. I have an
Okay.
answer. Like I'm not a guilty person. Like I don't feel guilt for a lot of things that I'm grateful for. But going out with Nick Cassarino is always my favorite thing. It's like the most fulfilling, the most. For several reasons. But Nick and I have known each other for 20 years, 19, 20 years. And it's such a blessing to have somebody who understands you without having to speak, that pushes you every moment of the day, and getting to travel with one other person is pretty incredible. And getting to play really intimate places where you get to know everybody. Like I said at the beginning, it's like people are my favorite part of what I do. So getting to play really small shows and getting to meet everybody and having that sort of intimate experience with everybody, that's what's the most beautiful for me. And so while I love everything else that I do and I'm happy to go do it, it's just a different thing. And to get to play your own music and music that we create together. And I think that's for me, that's it. I love that.
Talk about the contrast between that and playing on a stage, say, guesting with Fish and at Dick's Sporting Goods, or playing with Trey Band, or how does that experience differ for you in the moment?
It's different because as much as we are all part of Tab and we are made to feel like this band could not go on without us, which is a really beautiful thing from him. And we're treated like kings and queens and with the utmost respect. And that is an abnormal thing in the music industry. The way that Trey runs his band and his organization is an abnormally beautiful organization, but it's still the Trey Anastasio band. You're still at the end of the day a sideman, which is okay. A lot of people make their entire careers out of being sidemen for other people. And while it's not a normal sideman gig where nobody knows your name and nobody gives a shit about you, which is mostly what happens. You go on tour with Meghan Trainor and nobody knows who the backup dancers are, the backup singers, or the horn players, or whatever. So, to have the beautiful family that we do it's not lost on me, and I'm very appreciative for that. But at the end of the day, you're still somebody's sideman. You're still playing his music. And while I add whatever I add to it, it's just different. And it's not even just like the size of the rooms, because I still, the size of the rooms that we play, I can still see everybody. I can see everybody in the balcony. We can still have those moments like as if we were sitting in a cafe together and I'm, playing for you with Nick. But it's just a different operation,
I hope you can't see me at Trey shows.
Oh,
Jesus.
I see you, baby. The little look.
Ghosts of the Forest developed, from Trey Band. It's kind of a natural progression of his music and where he's going. How does that experience, Ghosts of the Forest, different from playing with Trey Band?
Ghosts of the Forest was a really special thing. The music was written for his best friend who passed away. Some of it was written while he was passing away. Some of it a little after, but it was such an emotionally charged art piece is how I look at it. And he wanted to have people in the band that were family. And he realized that Tony and Fish had never played together. And like, what a weird thing. They've known each other for their entire lives and they've never been in a band together. But he wanted to, it was about having those people who are closest to you, close to you, and playing music in honor of someone who meant so much to him, who we all knew. And it was it was special for a bunch of reasons, but you know, we play the same set every night. And that's such an interesting thing in and of itself, where there is no, you know, there's no improvisation. It's just, it is what it is. And I loved that. I've never had that experience with him. I've also never been in a band with him and Fishman. So, I mean, I've also known Fishman for 22 years or whatever, but I don't know him like that. We're not in a band together. We don't travel together. And that's like his bestie, you know? And so I found myself by the end of that tour, I really understood Trey so much better because I got to be in a band with the two of them. And I mentioned it to him. I said, I feel like I know so much more about you. He goes, I know, right? I know. I totally understand why you say that. Anyway, so it's just, it was interesting to sort of have people from all facets of his life and sort of come together for such a beautiful reason, and sad reason, but let's make it beautiful. And to have, you know, really beautiful, interesting production too. The lights were really cool and the backdrop was really cool. And we were all like, you know, we had outfits, we had costumes, it was just like you came to see this piece. And it was like I find it to be a relief when I know that for these 10 shows or whatever, I know what I'm doing. Because in every other thing that I do, there's so much improvisation, so much off the cuff stuff, that to go in knowing that this is my job tonight, it was really, oh God, this is such a weight off, you know?
Yeah.
So that was a thing.
You go into playing with a roadmap. That's kind of nice.
Yeah. Yep. Like a dream.
What a special thing for you to be asked to be a part of. I mean, it's really amazing that he asked you and involved you.
Yeah. I was touched and moved and I was really happy to do it, you know? Sure. We've certainly been through some shit together, you know? I met him in 97. I was 17.
How did that come about? Does Trey just randomly reach out to you because he's, you know, saw you play with somebody, or how does that come together?
Exactly how that happened. I was playing with Dave Grippo, who randomly saw me playing somewhere. When I was 16, I played in like a high school jazz competition thing with our high school jazz band, who was killer. And we won like 12 years in a row, whatever. We only did one competition every year because our band director was like, jazz isn't a competition. It's totally stupid that people do this. So, but we did one a year and we smoked and whatever. And so Dave Grippo was a judge one year when I was 16. And he's like, you know, he's like a legend. He's Giant Country Horns. He's Dave Grippo, you know? And so I don't know him as Giant Country Horns, but most people do. So I just knew him as, that's Dave Grippo from Burlington, and he's an incredible sax player. So I was backstage after our set, and he came back looking for me. And he was like, hey, you're having way too much fun on stage for me to not be standing next to you also having that much fun on stage. Do you want to join my band? This was Dave Grippo, and I was 16. I was like, oh my God, Dave Grippo. He goes, he's like, is your mom here? Is your dad here? Like, he wasn't trying to be like Mr. Creeper on a 16-year-old. I was like, yeah, no, my mom's here. And he was like, Mrs. Hartswick. So anyway, I started playing with Dave, and I started playing with his jazz sextet and a bunch of gigs in Burlington and stuff. And that's when Trey was making One Man's Trash in his, you know, home studio, basement, whatever. And he needed a trumpet player for some random, weird avant-garde piece that he was recording. And he asked Dave who to get. Dave was like, you haven't met Jen yet. You should meet Jen. And so he called me and he left a message on my parents' answering machine because it was 1997. And it was like apologetic and hilarious, and like everything was a question. It was like, hi, this is Trey. I play with the band Fish. Anyway, so I went to the session, and we did it, and he was, you know, like had his skateboard and his like knit cap over his hair and whatever, and so nice, and he's just, you know, funny and dorky, and we had a great time. But I thought, like, okay, this is like a one-off, and I will never see this dude ever again. And then that is not how life happened. So he formed the band a couple of years later, and I joined the band, and it's been however many years.
What has been your takeaway from, and this will be my last Trey question.
Okay.
What's been your takeaway from playing with Trey all these years? What do you take away musically and personally from those experiences?
Musically, I take away that to like never lose that childlike nature. He's the king of that. You know, he's very good at what he does, but he also has this like childlike wonder in him that I don't find in men with his career, men of his age, whatever. He's just like he's always fascinated by everything, and so willing to learn and fail and all the things that, you know, like that we're all afraid of. We're all fucking afraid to fail. And so we don't do it. And he's really just like, he said it happened when he turned 50. He's like, your life starts when you turn 50. You stop giving a fuck what anybody else thinks, and you just do it. You stop. He's like, it's a really, so I said to him, I turned 40 in 2 months. And I was talking to him the other day, and I was like, dude, can you believe I'm turning 40? Remember when I was 17? And he goes, I mean, kind of. No. He goes, I don't know, you've always just been you. Huh. That was a really like sweet thing to say. And he goes, it's only like 10 more years until your life starts.
You're still pre-gaming.
Yeah, he's like, listen, man. So that's what I take away from him on a musical level, on a personal level, man. You know, he's like a shining example of what can be accomplished, and how you can dig yourself out of anything if you want to. So, I mean, I'm forever indebted to him to just being a friend in my life, you know. We've definitely seen some shit together, been through some shit together, picked each other up from some shit together, you know. He helped me when I was going through something, well, not one thing, but, you know, many years ago, he gave me some of the greatest advice that I needed to hear in that moment. That's like very personal, that I wish I could share with you, that I'm not going to, but it's just one of those things where he was the only one who could say it like I needed to hear it. So anyway, he's the best. I love him to pieces.
I've never met Trey. I don't know Trey. I like Fish. I enjoy what they do. I'm not a huge Fish fan. Yeah. But I feel so heavily impacted positively by Trey. I can only think on just across the board, all the people who've been affected by him. I think, you know, if I feel the effect, and I'm not even this huge Fish fan, I can only imagine just the impact positively he's had on so many people's lives. And it's so incredible to reflect on that.
Yeah. And he's, you know, and it's all because he's himself. What an amazing example to set, that he just comes out there like unapologetically who he is. And that's sort of the lesson, is that this is the way that I look at it. The thing that makes us unique, that no one else has, and we all have that thing, is often the thing that we're chastised for and made fun of when we're a kid, because we're not like everybody else. And so we start to diminish that to make ourselves feel like everybody else, when in fact, the very thing that makes you you is the reason that you're here, and is the thing to be celebrated. So if you can break through that sort of, you know, crap, and really be who you are, you'll set an incredible example for everybody else, you know?
I find that we are our own worst enemies as far as limiting our potential and casting others' judgment onto us that may or may not even exist in the first place.
Totally.
Everybody thinks I'm this. Everybody thinks I'm that. If I do this, this is how people will think. But really, I mean, who knows? And are you available for Zoom therapy sessions if I need one?
Absolutely.
Great. Thank you. I appreciate it. What's the craziest shit you've seen on the road?
Oh, Lord. I can't talk about that. I've seen some things. I've seen some things. It's been a long time. None of them can I talk about.
Okay. All right. Let me see here then.
I mean, well, yeah, you just gotta wait. No, I don't know. Like the last tour that we were on, I'll say stuff that won't incriminate anybody because I would never do that.
Appreciate that.
But the last tour we were on, I don't know what happened. But, like, you know, there's always, like, the front row girls, front 3 rows, who all have their own spots. And they all come to every show and whatever. And they may or may not be friendly with each other. Not exactly sure about that. Because some of them put on really friendly faces, and then I see them do real fucked up shit to each other. But like, we were on the last tour, and James is elbowing me. I'm like, what the hell? He like does the head nod out to like that section, and some girl is choking the shit out of some other girl, like right in the second row, 2-handed chokehold. It's like, what just happened? Did you like get in your dance space? Did someone say, you know what I mean? Like you're at like a happy show. What happens to warrant that? Anyway, you know, weird stuff like that. That obviously people knew that we saw that because it was on the front, but you know, we can see everybody. People think that we can't, but we can.
Man, that fucks me up.
I'm
I think
sorry.
of all the times I'm making these ridiculous faces as I may or may not have been on some sort of substance, seeing, you know.
Sure, that happens.
Yeah, that's delightful.
No, it's okay, because you're you and you're having the time of your life, and that's all that matters.
I am having the time of my life. And speaking to that,
the time of my life. Okay.
so let's go back to time of our life and building that perfect super jam. What would that look like? And then I'll let you walk from this nonsense.
And then you'll walk from the nonsense?
I said I'll let you walk from this nonsense.
Oh, okay. I got nothing to do. That's so cool. I don't work anymore.
My mom asked me the other day if we were thinking about coming out to the Detroit area and what the date would be. And I said, I literally have nothing on my entire schedule for the rest of my life right now. Right now. Yeah. No, that's real life. I have stuff booked. I mean, things that haven't been canceled yet that we're all just assuming is canceled. I have stuff in the spring that I was pretty sure 2 months ago would be cool, and not so much. I have no idea, dude. I have no idea. What are we doing? All right, build me your super jam.
Okay, I think, God.
And I won't hold you to this. There can be obviously the next time we talk.
I'm gonna
variations.
Different super jam lineups. I think Carter should play drums.
Beaufort?
Yeah, why not?
Oh, wow. Okay.
I don't know. I'm just thinking about people that I haven't played with yet that I think are my vibe. I think he's my vibe.
He's great. I'm thinking I've just never seen him in like a super jam. It doesn't even occur to me. But those are the kind of guys I'm talking about too. That might
no fucking rules, bro. Come on.
Right. Those are exactly the kind of guys I'm talking about that may or may not be available.
Do it. I just mean that would be fun.
Dude, that's a great pick.
Thanks. All right, now you go. How about we do one and one?
Well, can I have bass then? Because that's easy for me. Okay. I like O'Teal.
Okay, good. We picked the same bass player. That's, I think. Let's see. On guitar, who should play guitar? Sharkey. Isaiah Sharkey.
I've heard that name a bunch, and I'm not super familiar with his music. I should be, right?
Some research. Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Okay, your turn. I'm writing these down. How about male singer?
Oh, you put me on singer? That's like the one thing I don't even put in my super jams. I'm like, oh, you go ahead and pick a singer. Can I do keys?
Don't worry about it.
Can I do keys?
Yeah, go Keys.
Okay. I like John Medeski.
All right. Medeski.
Who are you thinking on keys?
No, that's not the game, my friend. We switched it up.
But God, but then you get like Corey Henry too, and like
there can be more. It can be the biggest super jam of all time.
Okay, maybe add Corey Henry to that.
All right, Corey Henry and Medeski.
Oof.
Nigel's gonna sing. I did that for you because you didn't want to think about singers. So he's gonna sing. And what else?
Do you have other horns, or is it just you?
Oh, I have all of the horns. I feel like there's also a full gospel choir. I mean, come on. If we're gonna do it, this should be an arena tour of Superjam with 40 musicians.
Oh my God, all the buses.
Oh my God, there's so many buses.
Give me some horns. I'm going to leave that obviously solely up to you because I don't have anything to say about that.
Okay. Well, I mean, James and Natalie, because that's my people. Like, nothing's better than that. Rashawn can come. Rashawn is like the greatest living trumpet player. I don't even understand how he does what he does.
He's awesome.
It's stupid. I'm angry with him. I get angry when I hear him. I'm like, you know what, dude? If you could just, like, if there could be something that you didn't do well, I would appreciate it.
Tone it down a little bit because we're all trying to keep up with you.
Can you take it down 3 octaves where the rest of us live?
It's like when someone tells me they're going to run a marathon. I'm like, settle down. Okay.
Yeah. How about I run from here to the mailbox, take a break?
Yeah.
Okay.
That sounds like a really good super jam to me.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Well, let's do it.
Okay.
Let's
don't threaten me with a good time.
Make some phone calls. What are you doing for the rest of your day?
I'm gonna smoke weed.
Okay. Good.
Yeah. I'm gonna go out in my garden, do a little gardening, drink some coffee. I'm gonna edit this podcast so that I can have it up probably tomorrow. Anything you want to send me, or I mean, I leave it up to you completely.
Okay, I can do that.
Okay. But when we disconnect, please do that so that I can have this edited pretty quickly.
Are you saying I forget doing that?
Yes.
You are correct. Notepad. Teal, Medeski, Corey Henry, Carter. Send.
Most of those calls can be made pretty easily when things come back to normal.
Music happens.
We're going to get you a choir, okay?
Okay, thanks. But not like, it's got to be like you got to let me in on that too.
Understood.
Yeah, because I don't need the choir that I grew up with in church. No, that's not what I mean.
That's beautiful. Thank you for that.
You.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I wanted to say to you, I'm so grateful for you as a person and the friendship, business relationship that we've formed over the years means the world to me. Being a little kid running around on drugs at some of these music festivals and or shows, coming up and watching how professional you've always been has inspired me. And you are literally one of my favorite musicians. And I'm so grateful for everything that you've done for me and for how you've helped work with me to advance my career. It means everything to me. And thank you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate all that. I love you dearly. And I think you're fucking awesome.
Oh, that's sweet. Thank you so much, Jen. I love you.
I love you too. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Toodaloo.
Thank you for listening to Galaxy Tenants. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, like, rate, and review wherever you listen to podcasts.